This video is going to go over how to use the import contacts feature of Mission Pillars to add or update multiple contacts at once. If you want to create or update several contacts at once, you can use our import contact feature to do so, saving you time. So let's get started with this. You click on our menu. You can click on the menu to open up the navigation, and then click on CRM and contacts and import contacts. From there, it actually gives you a couple steps, and we're going to be mainly focusing on some tips and tricks to do this second step here, fill spreadsheet with contacts, because that can be tricky, particularly if you're coming from a different system. So one of the first things you want to do is actually download the contact template spreadsheet, because that will show you at any given time what are the supported fields for our system. And you can see, for example, you may have data from your external system, and it may give you a lot of different things, information that you want to import, maybe some blank columns and whatnot, as well as obviously the things that you want to import. So what you want to do is use that template to see what is supported in our system. You can use Excel or Google Sheets or any your favorite spreadsheet program to show those things. I did a little trick there. Most spreadsheet programs, if you click in the top left corner, you can select everything and just make it easier to expand the columns. Sometimes you can also just double click similarly on the border and automatically change the width. So that way it makes it easy for you to see. You'll see that in the template, there's an example rows. You can kind of see what the kind of data is expected in our system. And so I have, first name, middle name, last name, birth name, birth date, so on and so forth. One thing that's interesting here is tags. Tags is an excellent column to use if you have maybe some information. Maybe your prior system has some kind of grouping or some kind of way of putting some of your contacts in different categories and made it easy for you to select them. Well, the Mission Pillar system is entirely tag based, which means that this is a great way to group your contacts by certain tags. And so right here in the example, you can see tag 1, tag 2, tag 3, tags, exclamation point. But this could very well be, member or online giver, anything that you may know from your prior system or from just if you wanted to tag someone, maybe you are actually trying to create a list of people that you want to email. So you can say newsletter or email list. And so this particular contact would be tagged with each one of these things, which would allow you to then from within our system search based off of those tags. And you can go through the line and actually do that. So, one way you can do it is just directly open up this spreadsheet and fill out all of these here. Of course, you also have address, city, region, which is like the state, country, and postal code. So if you had just a handful of contacts, this may be the way to go. Just go in, just type them in there. You can do them all at once, and that would avoid you having to go into the Mission Pillar system and adding them individually one by one and go to different screens to do so. Particularly in the fact that you can additionally do addresses. You can also, if you needed to, you can do multiple addresses or update information that you may have already in your Mission Pillar system by simply ensuring that you have a matching email address. That's usually the best thing. This, as long as the email address matches an address in the system, it will do its best to link that up. Um, as well as there's a way to merge contacts once you're in. Okay, so that's one great tip. What happens if you have a lot of contacts? Now, of course, in my example, I have 5 here, and I'm going to similarly do what I did before. I'm going to just double click after clicking the corner, and I can see I have all kinds of columns and whatnot. So it may be helpful to get these side by side, or maybe one top of the other. All right, so now I have my 2 spreadsheets, and I can see right away that I have fields that I have fields here. So I have first name here and I have first name here. All right, so far so good. First name, middle name, last name, first name, middle name, last name. They both have a preferred name. This label's not quite right, but so you just go through and you check what matches up. So here I see I have a cell phone. I'm looking for a cell phone, but this next one is email too. In this particular case, I didn't have email too, so I can probably just remove that. And so that's one of the things you're going to want to do, is simply just remove anything that you're not going to be importing. And like I said, it's helpful to just go through and ensure that these columns match exactly with um, the columns you have at the top here. And so I'm actually going to, just to make it super easy, I'm going to do this as well. So if you have any information that perhaps you want to use, like maybe I don't need these, so I'm going to just take these out. Maybe I want to do something with this ID. You may want to just select the column, cut it, and move it to the end, or anywhere past the point. Since we're still kind of going through, that may help us out just to do it that way. So now I can look at G, and G matches cell phone. So far, so good. Next is gender. So I actually don't have a work phone in here. So I'm going to delete that. And like I said, if you did have that, you can always just move it to the end, and I'll show you why in a little bit here. Okay, so now I'm at the end. I've kind of gone through here, and you can see that I've matched the order of both of these. So cell phone is in G. Got H is gender, marital status is I, and then I have a couple that I don't have here. So have is primary. Actually, I don't think I need that one, so I'm going to just delete that one as well. But I do have mailing address now, and I'll just check my my template, and I see email address is column N. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to insert some columns. So, and I'm going to go up to column N and then insert. And now mailing address is in column N. And I can continue to check that city. And my state matches up with region, country, postal code. And then finally, that's the last one, but I also want to do ID. Now, I would say it's probably a good idea, get your ID column just so you consistently use the same identifier, because this field is, as you can see, not a field that we have here. So you may want to external ID or something, maybe perhaps your system that if you're importing it from a different system's export may already have a nice name for it. But whatever you use for that ID, it's a good idea to go ahead and import that into our system as well. And what that will do is that will come in as a custom field, as well as any other custom field that you want. Like sometimes it may be helpful to do import date, and then you can put a date in there if you like. So, for example, And I can copy this, and I can select, and I can paste those values in. And so this is also, like I said, a great time to just look at your spreadsheet and add any information you know, maybe create some custom fields, just so you know any custom fields any fields that are not supported by our importer will not be discarded, which is something you may not find everywhere. We will actually import those, and you will be able to view those from within our system. So feel free to leave any information that you want to still access, um, resting assured that you'll be able to see those in our system. All right, so with that done, so we have our custom fields here. So what I'm going to do, just to line these up, I'm going to make STU here. I'm going to copy those into my template. And then I'm going to select all my data, making, do one final check if you like, to make sure all your columns match. And then you select all your data, which is, matter of fact, you can even do this. You just select the whole thing, go to your first data row on your template. And let me just go ahead and open this up a little bit better. And you can just actually double check to make sure these match up. When you're confident that they do, and this is also if you hadn't already, you copy those custom fields up to the top row. And when you're sure that they match, just go ahead and delete your duplicate row. And now there you go. You have your import file all ready. Now I'm just going to go ahead and save it somewhere I know where it's at. It's always a good step to do. I want to click downloads. You may prefer to use your desktop. And I'm just going to say import file from external system. When you're saving, you want to make sure that common delimited CSV is selected. So common delimited is the file format you want to use. And I'm going to hit save. And then we will go back to mission pillars and continue with the next step. Click browse to select your spreadsheet. So once again, I'm going to go to downloads, import file from external system, open, and submit your spreadsheet. And so I hit submit, and it will go ahead and import that. And it'll take you to the contacts, and we will see that we can search for and find some of those contacts that we imported. But one thing that's also helpful to know is that in the event that you have any existing contacts that you already had in there, they will actually pop up. And so, for example, John Doe actually already existed, and I can see that one was created on the 4th, 2020, one on the 17th. And so you can choose which one you like to keep. This is our demo system, so some of our dates are actually modified. So this is really the one that I just did. Doesn't matter. You can actually merge, contacts together, and so that's an excellent way to do that. But I'm also going to just show you as well that if I go to one of our contacts, I'm going to use one of the different ones. Let me say Joanna. All right, and I go to Actions, Edit Contact, and I can see our address is already there. Various fields are already in here, as well as our custom fields. So that external ID will live here under the custom fields, and I see import date. So that's something that you wanted to see. You can add those custom fields and import it. Perhaps you don't want to import all the fields in our template file. So what you could do, and instead of doing that, you could also, once again, still use our template file as a reference, so you can see exactly what they are. And so maybe I'll just do, maybe I just want to update the name and email and birthday for the contacts. So maybe what you want to do is just paste those in, just so you can have them visible. And then all the fields that you want to keep, you can delete the ones you don't, and just make sure that these headings match. You definitely want to make them match, and Excel allows you to drag and drop, or um, also allows you to copy and paste. It'll warn you about, it may warn you about if you drag, you're replacing information. But any of the fields that you want to use, I'm going to actually just go ahead and do that. You want to make sure they match what's in the template here. And so maybe that's all you wanted to import. So all the supported fields, you want to make sure they match. You can get rid of anything that you don't want to import. Just know that if you do, for example, have an email too, you can keep it in there. And it just will come in as a custom field, for example. So maybe that's what you're doing. Maybe you're just adding, name and email to the system here. And so what you can do is delete everything else that you don't want, ensuring that what you do want matches. And once again, save that file so that you can access it. We'll just call it import file from virtual system 2. And save it once again. Not only is this may be easier depending on how you're starting, it's also a good way to update information that you may have existing. And so once again, if the email matches, it will match contacts in the emission pillars system. All right, so hope that was helpful, and you have a great day.